Welcome back, friends. We see a resurgence of coronavirus in the form of a second wave in Europe and now in the United States of America. The situation in Europe is particularly alarming. In the warm summer months, coronavirus in Europe seemed to be in retreat. Economies were reopening and intensive care wards were emptying. Though a second wave of pandemic in Europe's winter was long feared, it has finally arrived with a gusto not imagined before. Germany's federal and state governments agreed this week to shut parts of the economy and tighten controls on social contact. France announced a new national lockdown of at least 1 month. Pressure is growing on 10 Downing Street for tougher nationwide measures in England, bringing it into line with those in places elsewhere in the United Kingdom and amongst its European counterparts. Other European countries had already acted or are set to follow. Ireland last week introduced a 6-week nationwide lockdown. Italy, Belgium, and Greece introduced night curfew to curb social contacts. Spain too announced a nationwide curfew and triggered emergency powers. The rapid resurgence of the coronavirus has removed any prospect of a V-shaped recovery, leaving the European leaders instead contemplating a potential double-dip recession. Even partial lockdowns will require further support measures to mitigate the economic impact of the second wave of coronavirus. And this could push the soaring deficits and debt levels even higher. The European Central Bank, or ECB as it is well called, on Thursday said that it was likely to provide more stimulus before the year-end, warning risks were clearly tilted to the downside. Governments had fervently hoped to avoid repeating the kind of national lockdowns seen 6 months ago. There, however, are some positives this time in the second wave of coronavirus. One is that the knowledge and experience of the virus is permitting a more calibrated and targeted approach this time that may limit some of the economic harm. Efforts are focused on limiting social contacts in the home and in hospitality venues, while allowing the areas of economic activity to continue. Germany and France are closing restaurants and bars and some other venues for social mixing, but schools, factories and companies where COVID-safe measures are now routine are staying open. So there is a difference between the second wave of coronavirus and the earlier one that could limit some of the economic damage. Both the countries, Germany and France, are attempting to make the lockdowns time limited if infection rates can be brought under control sufficiently. In November, controls may be loosened just before Christmas, allowing some rebound in consumer spending before the year runs itself out. 2020, don't forget. You'll never forget. In the third of Europe's big three economies, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson continues to pursue a regional approach in England and hold out against nationwide measures, as France's Emmanuel Macron did until this week. But a similar time-limited nationwide closure of hospitality businesses is unavoidable if Britain wants to prevent hospitals being overwhelmed and NHS being flooded with patients once again. This would stand a chance of a more normal Christmas. With the UK-wide furlough scheme ending this weekend, Chancellor Rishi Sunak will have to ensure that the businesses forced to close nationally on government orders will receive support. Across Europe, of course, businesses and individuals are learning to adapt. companies have grown used to remote control operations, and supply chains have adjusted, helped by recovering economies in Asia. Yet the biggest lesson of recent weeks is that further adjustments in mindsets are required. While hopes remain of viable vaccines appearing within months, it is unclear there will be a silver bullet, so as to say. Societies may need to rely more on improving treatments, which are reducing the death rates, and advances in technology allowing cheap mass testing. As the first anniversary approaches of the report of unusual pneumonia cases in Wuhan, it is ever clearer that we are in for a pretty long haul. Yet, the second wave promises to be less lethal than the first wave. Happy investing, friends. Take care. Bye-bye.